Hi there. It's 2026. I'm Trisha Broderick and I'm going live already. Although it's January 9th, it feels like an entire year in these 9 days already. So, hence my You Are Enough shirt to just kind of have as a little message to myself as well as to many others as this year is kicking off to with lots and lots already in the year. So, I have an announcement. I'm not sure many will care about this in any kind of way. Although I already got comments and things like that, but I thought I'm transparent. I like sharing different things, and it also helps me reflect in these decisions and look at it from different perspectives as I'm doing it as well. So, my name is Trish Broderick. I'm with Ignite Insight and Innovation, and I am no longer a Scrum Alliance certified Scrum trainer. So let's talk about why. Well, actually, before we even talk about why, let's talk about the history a little bit. So I've been involved in the Agile community. Um, I mean, well, pre even getting involved in the Agile community, I started using extreme programming in 1999. Started faking Scrum in 2005. I was very good at faking Scrum in 2005. But I started getting involved in the Agile Alliance community around 2007. And I've been very involved in that community from the get go. But I did not get involved in the Scrum Alliance community till around 2015 when I joined the Agile for All team. And a lot of the members of the Agile for All team were certified Scrum trainers, and it was just never a priority to me. It was not a big deal for me. But at one point, one of my colleagues was like, "You're probably the one with the most actual experience and things like you should do this." And so I was lucky. I honestly already had the training requirements. I had a lot of the stuff. I was able to qualify to be a certified Scrum trainer in a very short period of time. In fact, I think one of the TAC comments when I was in the review process of it, I think one of the first questions I got was something along the lines of why finally now? Because although it was 2016, I had been around in the community for quite some time. I was about to be the chair and the overall chair for Agile 2017. So it was kind of as the question posed, why finally now be a CST? And my initial answer, I think, or hopefully my answer at that time was along the lines of, it was a way to help my team at Agile for All because we had too many things, and it was a way to do coverage. And at the end of the day, I wanted to help people, and I do have a lot of experience with Scrum and what that looked like and what that meant. And so I got my certification in I think it was 2016, like the summer of 2016 in Germany. I had to fly over to a Scrum gathering over there to do it. And then for many years, I gave different trainings. But I will say that I never did a ton of publics. I was not very much in that lane. I did a number of different things for people as we worked together as a coalition in Agile for All and stuff, but I wasn't listing a ton. I wasn't doing what a lot of some of the CSTs were doing in terms of training, twice a week, sometimes flying all over the places. I really kind of did it in a sense of helping out where we had extra need or when my clients needed something. And I did love teaching about Scrum because there were so many people that, like me, was faking Scrum and what that meant and what that was. And so it was a great opportunity to do that training in different ways. But I was never big on, or I never had a lot in the public sector of it with that. So over the years, we've watched different things happen, especially post-COVID with demand of public trainings, demand of different things. And so I've watched that kind of struggle, and I've watched a lot of really amazing, talented people struggle in different ways. And so I was kind of watching that happen in that domain. And because I was never big on the public, it just wasn't part of my business model at Ignite or along those lines. So I wasn't super worried about it and things along those lines. But I kept watching just some toxic level frustrations happening, just different approaches that were causing other issues to happen. And it's just challenging out there. It's challenging for everybody in different ways in the economy. And so I kind of started maybe a year or two ago, kind of going, is the cost of the renewal worth it for me? Does this make sense? Does this not make sense? Because again, I really love and still do a lot of the other people in the community. And I did meet some people in the Scrum Alliance community that don't go to the other communities, whether it's Agile Alliance, Kanban, it's just different conferences in general. And so I very much enjoyed the community, but I did start questioning even a few years ago, is the cost worth it? Is it not worth it? What can we, does it make sense for me? And for a couple of years, it kept making sense, even though it kept getting each year kept getting a little bit more. And but it still made sense because for me, it was kind of like I always approached my business from a full package perspective. I have some clients that want me to teach about Kanban, so I do that. I have some clients that want me to teach about Scrum. I have some clients that just focus in on leadership, and I teach in that. I have some clients that want me to facilitate a meeting, so I do these different elements with it. And where Scrum Alliance always came into play for me was this very focused on Scrum and like really helping people understand that framework and what that meant. And it made sense. Like it fit my quote unquote portfolio. And then not this year, but the year before, there was a meeting that we had, part of the community or whatnot. And Scrum Alliance is adjusting. They're changing their mission a little bit. They're changing some of their marketing. They're changing different things. And at one point, their commentary was along the lines of less Scrum focus for this particular offering, not completely by any means, but like some of their offerings were not going to be about and centered on Scrum. And I asked a question, something to the lines of, well, how do I explain when I would do this certification versus this certification with this organization versus this organization? And at the time, an employee of Scrum Alliance looked at me and said, well, that's your problem. And it looks like you're going to have to make a choice. And I pretty much at that moment, over a year ago, started going, okay, if I've got to make a choice, what is that choice going to be? Who values me? Who is doing and living the principles that I believe in as leaders? Who's supporting a community? Who's kind of going out there and doing these things? And going back and forth. And I spent some time evaluating. I spent some time really not just looking at the cost, but the full package of what that meant and how I could provide value to my customers and my clients and my partnerships. And I ended up kind of realizing that I wasn't always in alignment. There were things that Scrum Alliance would make choices on, and I wasn't always in agreement with. Now, let me be clear. Some of those choices, if I was in their position, I might make the very same choice. Like I'm not even judging that necessarily of the choice, but that I wasn't in alignment with. And as that continued on, some of those times I would escalate and it would get resolved. And it was amazing. And I was grateful for that. Other times it wouldn't get resolved and kind of dismissed at different moments. And it just got to a place where I started getting less and less comfortable. And after being told to make a choice, I started really looking at my choices and I started exploring what were options and where do I want to invest my time and my brand and my value that's going to best help the people I'm trying to help, right? Like that's ultimately what I'm trying to do. And when I started really exploring that and making that decision was honestly December of last year. And I gave myself this year, we're in January 2026. So in December of 2024, I made the decision that I was going to spend that next year preparing and considering and looking at it. And over the course of 2025, it became clear to me that it just didn't make sense. I wasn't doing public classes. I wasn't in alignment with some of the choices that the leadership has decided to make. As much as I love the community and I will still be going, I'm going to hopefully be going to Scrum Gathering in Belgium in October. It's not a matter of not supporting in general, but it just became a place where the value wasn't there for me anymore with that. And I can still provide value to the people I'm trying to help in other manners. In the portfolio that I'm looking at. And so I made that choice. I made that decision to not renew my CST. It was interesting. I thought it would bother me more, but honestly, I don't think I ever really had it as part of my identity. I was even looking for all the places I've written CST, and I realized I had it listed in LinkedIn and like one other, a couple workbooks, but in general, I don't use that credential a lot. And so I think I've always been about the community more than any title or cert or anything along those lines. And so it's been kind of an easier transition than I thought. Now, keep in mind, it's January. I might, I might change my mind on that, but I'm finding that I'm still able to provide the value even without that ability. And again, even though it's only been a couple weeks since it's official, or not even 9 days since it's officially expired, I started making those adjustments all throughout 2025 to test it out, to experiment with it, to see with those things. And there are still so many incredible, wonderful CSTs that I know that if I do need a CST, I have an amazing network of people that will help me out and do what I and whatever I need with those areas. So I'm grateful for that. Like I'm grateful for those areas, but it just wasn't a cost that I needed. And also there were people coming to me asking if they should be a CST, and I couldn't recommend it given the market, given the situation, given all those things. And I'm not going to get into the T issues of where I don't align, because that's a specific personal thing to me, and there's always two sides to everything in different areas. But I want to invest my time in 2026 with organizations and situations that I feel like are going to best help the people I'm trying to help. And this was a choice for me, and where I wanted to spend that time. And I'm grateful to have as many communities as I do that can support my clients and my partners in different ways. So I am no longer a CST, and I'm okay with that. I'm excited for what continues to lay ahead. I'm excited for different things, um, and we'll see what happens next. So I can't really open it up for questions. There isn't really questions, and I'm not even sure anybody will care about this whatsoever. But again, I wanted to be transparent and wanted to highlight. I'm not even sure some people may not even realize it was the CST or what even that is, and does it even matter? But it was something that I've spent the last not quite 10 years. So that's why I'm not doing the emeritus or whatever that, however you pronounce that, status, because I did not hit 10 years. So technically I would have had to go through June of this year to be at 10 years. So I wasn't valued in hitting that mark. So I am not going to, I didn't have that option. So my CST just lapses is what I was. Oh, I wasn't even told that it just lapses. I was told kind of had the option of retirement full blown, or this emeritus status, but I didn't hit the 10-year qualifier mark. I missed it by like 6 months, I think, or so. So mine just lapsed, and I'll just say former CST if it ever comes up, and I'm okay with that. So I hope I'm wishing everybody a happy new year. Peace and grace during this year. You are enough in this year as we go forward with things. And I look forward to what's going to lay ahead. Thanks.